are at Harewood for the one and only time this year. My local Saturday and Sunday for it's a round of the British National Hillclimb Championship. All the fast guys are here. The weather is very ominous. It's been threatening showers all day. Nothing's happened yet, but looking on the horizon, there is a lot of rain. It's very cool, so my times are way off where they need to be. We're about 2.5 seconds off. Just done a 66.7 on second practice. The target's a 64.4, which is my time from last year. So I was hoping to be within a second. I'd take that right now if it was offered. Let's see if we can get into a 65 on this. I think it's going to be a big ask with conditions as they are today, both temperature wise and weather wise. Praying that this rain cloud over there does not come overhead before we get us run. Let's get one run on the board and just assess the grip. We're in a class today, the BARC Championship class, so we've all been lumped together, all the caterhams in front and every other car, so there is no class as such, it's just one big group of random cars. So nothing really to compete for on that score. We're just battling, see how close we can get to last year's timer set of 64.4. We could really do with a rerun to have a bit of heat in the tyres. I am squirming all over the place, but it is what it is. Let's see what we can do. It's just not there. 66.6. It's a handful. It's a handful. See if we can scrape into a 65 with the next run, but not good enough. Not good enough. Tyres need to switch on. Right, the sun has come out for run 2. We've been told we're getting run 2 and run 3 straight after, so we've got half a chance to get a respectable time. Yeah, 66.6 just ain't good enough. So bit of heat in the track, bit of heat in the tyres. Can we do any better? We need a 65 something. We've got to get that today. Conditions are far from perfect. It's still very windy and very cool, but at least the sun's putting a bit of heat hopefully into the track. We had a rain spell over lunch, but that's dried up now, that's cleared. So the aim of this one is a 65 something. Can we do it? Is there gonna be enough grip? Fingers crossed. something. Bloody hell. Rest at run felt a bit grippier though, but just overcooked it on the S's. I think we're getting one more run. Fingers crossed. Right, it is do or die. We have one final chance to try and get a time in the 65, some respectable time. We're going to have to be super precise, super on it. The ABS is kicking in 10 to the dozen down the first straight, which tells you the grip ain't there, but we've got to work with what we've got. Can we get a 65? Come on, we need to be on it. Sake, man. Oh, give me some grip. Oh well, we'll come back tomorrow and see if we can go any quicker, but it's not looking good, is it? And a mixed forecast for tomorrow. Hey ho, we can only do what we can do. Right, day 2, Sunday at Harewood, and the weather has took a turn for the worst. It's been raining for about half an hour now. We are due to go out for our first timed run in about maybe 20 minutes. There was an accident, somebody come off at the end, which has delayed it about half an hour, and then the rain started and it's been teeming down for the last 20 minutes, 30 minutes or so. So first run is going to be very, very wet, but it gives us a chance to see what these tyres are like in the wet, because they're useless in the dry. So let's see comparatively if they're better performance in the wet compared to whatever everybody else is running. The downside is we're not going to get nowhere near the target time if the weather stays like this. It is forecast to brighten up and dry up in the afternoon, so first time run before lunch, then we'll have lunch, and then hopefully it'll dry out as the afternoon goes on. But can't do anything about the weather. Typical Harewood weather can be anything. Second practice time was identical to my best time yesterday, and I was pushing, so I don't think there's any more time in the car on these tyres. I've pumped them up a few psi just to see if that made any difference, which it didn't. It didn't work anywhere else. The lower pressures were better on these, but I just thought there's nothing to lose, but ultimately it resulted in the exact same time. So we've just got to try and do as little squirming as possible if it dries out, and see if, pray we can get a 65, but it's looking unlikely. But it's going to be very interesting in the wet, for the wet run, as to see how much grip there is and how sketchy it is. We've got the British Hillclimb guys here as well today doing the actual runoff, so it's going to be very interesting to watch them as well, if I can be bothered to go outside in the pouring down rain. Right, let's see how sketchy this is going to be. Let's see how quick we can get off the line. It will just crawl away. Made it in one piece. Let's see if it dries up for the afternoon. Just for reference, my quickest time in the wet is a 69, so we're 4 seconds slower than that, but hard to tell. I mean, the grip was okay. Coming down for run 2, this will be the last, we think. We've had a lot of rain intervals today. Not raining at the minute, but the track is very damp stroke wet, so can we do any better than earlier? We're not going to get a dry run today at all, so points are going to be very minimal. But on a plus note, I was leading the class after the wet run earlier, so best in the wet, but still miles off the time we need to be, which we're not going to get here. Yeah, so conditions very similar. Let's just see where we get. See if we can beat a 73. very sketchy. Very sketchy. We knocked about a second off. We'll see where that finishes us. Have to have 100% concentration there. Jeez. Alright, very mixed bag at Harewood. Weather as always plays a part. Most times when you go there you never know what to expect, and it was the same this weekend. So on Saturday we mainly stayed dry. For both days it were forecast showers and sunny spells like all day long. So Saturday we managed to stay dry for the vast majority of the day, but the times were just way off compared to previous years. I'll not moan about the tyres again, but yeah, just ultimately the grip, especially in the slow corners and trying to power out of slow corners, there's just no grip there compared to other to better tyres. So did the best we could. We ended up with a 66.6, which is over 2 seconds off the target time and over 2 seconds off where I'd normally be. So not good. Very disappointing Saturday. Not much else I could do. I felt like I was pushing the car. I mean, I did come off on the second run and saw onto the grass. Yeah, I was trying to push as much as I could, but I don't think there was much else in it, which is mightily frustrating. So then on to the Sunday. The track had rubbered in slightly because in practice I did a 66.5, so a tenth quicker than my best run on Saturday. So again, I had fingers crossed I could get into a 65, but on reflection it probably would have been a high 65, and it's still way off previous years. But then the rain came, which disrupted the whole of Sunday. Not many people ended up getting a dry run. There was, I think, a couple of batchers that managed to squeeze one in after lunch, but in the main it was wet for the vast majority of the day, and both my runs were pretty similar. Not actually raining at the time, but it had just been raining, so the track was very greasy, damp stroke, wet, very few dry patches. So the best time on the Sunday, we did a 73 on the first time run and then a 72.4 on the second time run, which kept me in first place in the BARC Connaught Championship class. There was about 10 of us, 10 runners, 12 I think on the Saturday. So I took a bit of relief stroke celebration that I was the quickest car in the wet. Whether everybody was pushing, possibly not, but I was. As you can see from the videos, I thought, what the hell, let's go for it. Yeah, and was on the limit a few times. But the tyres did all right in the wet, as I expected. They have got an A rating for wet, and it was only 6 seconds slower than the dry, which is good going. I think every tyre I've had, the best tyres, you're about 6 seconds slower in the wet up Harewood, and other tracks that are about 60-70 seconds. So yeah, can't really fault the wet grip, although it was a bit leery at times, but it is whatever tyre you've got on, it's going to be leery. So we managed to get first in class on Sunday, although I was only doing the BARC Speed Championship and it's against a target time, so points wise absolutely abysmal. And I'm not doing any other hill climbs for the BARC, so that'll ruin my overall score because I have to count these 2 days. But it is what it is. You never, in England, you can turn up and it can be any weather. That's the chance you take. And at Harewood, it's even more unpredictable, as mentioned before. So yeah, good to be back at Harewood, seeing some familiar faces. Had a chat with a lot of people. Track exactly as I remember it, straight at it. No warming up needed, but just ultimately, yeah, not the grip levels required. So certainly back onto the AO52s or the Nankang CRSs that are very similar, I think, for next year. Can't be 2 seconds off Same at Anglesey as well. It's just giving away too much. Even if the tyres last twice as long, it's giving away too much time. So onwards and upwards. Next one is at Lowton Park just for the Sunday next weekend. So we'll see how we get on at Lowton against my previous times. Going to be interesting. Thank you very much.